Another week is in the books here in 2014-15 Wildcats fans, and that means it's time for another edition of Wildcats Weekly presented by Armored Roofing. Ben Horner with you here, Cats fans. Thanks for joining us on what's sure to be another great show. On this week's edition, we'll sit down with head coach John LaFontaine and get his thoughts on a split against the Ice Rays, and we'll also preview a crucial two-game set against the Lone Star Brahmas. We'll also check in with some past Cats and see what's going on with our NCAA alumni and an alumni update, and of course, we'll get you filled in with all the news and notes you need for the weeks ahead. All that and more coming your way on the other side of the break as Wildcats Hockey, presented by Armored Roofing, rolls on just after this. Welcome back to Wildcats Weekly, presented by Armored Roofing. Ben Horner with you here, and joining me now, as always, the man to my left is head coach John LaFontaine. We're talking about the Wildcats' two-game split against the Corpus Christi Ice Rays, and then we're going to dive head first into a battle with the Brahmas this Friday and Saturday in North Richland Hills. That's sure to be a pretty intense pair of hockey games down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But, John, let's start off with those games against Corpus Christi. Thursday evening, pick up a back-and-forth 5-4 win, and then the next night, same scoreline, but couldn't replicate the result.
Yeah, we felt that we did some really good things that we hadn't been doing on Thursday. Defensively, where we were just kind of picking our men up better and a little bit more accountable on the defensive end, and yet we still had some breakdowns. They still got some goals, and we're working on our penalty kill. They exposed that a little bit with some shots from the point that got through, but some areas that are definitely workable. Thought we would have the same type of result on Friday, that we would come out hungry and hungrier. We know that a team that on the first night of a doubleheader where you play the same team, the team that doesn't get it done the first night is going to come out hungry, and we needed to match that, and they came out and raised their game up a notch, and I don't think we did, and that's disappointing. We've got to get this roller coaster part of the season back to consistency and playing hard every night and respecting, it doesn't matter who we play every night. And so we there's little areas of our game that have slipped and that we need to get back.
We talked after Thursday's game about a very potent effort from the blue line, getting shots through, 42 shots on goal on Thursday. Seemed like the Ice Rays did a much better job on Friday night of getting bodies in the shooting lanes and knocking pucks down. Only 6 shots on goal in the first period and 6 in the second, before outshooting Corpus Christi 10-1 in the third period that was controlled by the Wildcats as they hunted for a game-tying goal. But is that something that you noticed as well? They were doing a better job of blocking shots?
Yeah. When we saw film on Thursday, the guys clearly saw their effort to get in shooting lanes, and we were able to get the shots through. And probably something we needed to focus more was not trying to hit the middle of the net, but having guys on the sides, because they were screening the goalie for us. And when we did that, we got that first goal in the third period by Tommy just standing on the side, which is what our goal, our focus, and Cam saw that and threw it to the side of the net and went in. So we needed to do more of that, and our D have done a great job. They've really improved at getting shots through and finding those areas, and I don't know if we focused enough on that to not worry about hitting the front of the net. We got shots blocked early in that game, and some of that is just a result. We just didn't come out hard enough and ready for their competitiveness. They came out with a good, strong game plan and toughened up a little bit on us in the defensive zone and the mid zone, and we got to be willing to fight in those tough areas and move the puck a little quicker. So I think it was just a result of not being ready right from the start.
So your overall takeaway from the weekend?
Well, you're disappointed. For 2 straight weekends, we didn't really take care of our home ice like we had been, where those home games mean everything, and you've got to put a run on at home and then go really battle on the road. Our division's tough on the road. So, over the last 2 weekends, for sure, we would come away disappointed with what we feel is games that we let slip by us.
Of course, the Wildcats are going to take the show on the road this weekend as Wildcats Weekly presented by Armored Roofing continues. And John, let's look ahead to this two-game set against the Lone Star Brahmas. And you look at the numbers on Lone Star, very difficult to beat in their building. It took until January for them to lose their first game at home. The thing that sticks out about the Brahmas squad is they play two different styles at home and on the road. This will be the first time the Cats have faced the Lone Star in their building since the preseason, and you can kind of throw that one out the window already. What are you expecting for this weekend set ahead?
Well, everybody that goes in and plays them there says the same. Wow, they tough at home, and the rink is a little smaller, ice surface, and the game is just very quick, and they'll play the patient game, and they'll get the pucks to areas, and if they get to the puck, they good. If they don't, they're still in a position where they'll defend, and they defend really well. They're the best at shots against. They're the lowest in the league at giving up shots, giving up the least amount of shots, and they really pressure you all over the ice, and they want to win by you getting frustrated and turn the puck over, and they capitalize when they get the lead. They're probably the best in the league or in the whole North American League at protecting the lead.
One thing that also jumps out about this Brahmas squad, very high shooting percentage. It seems like they really sit back and wait for the high percentage opportunities to come along. The third fewest shots on goal in the league, but the highest shooting percentage for one of the top 6 offenses in the North American Hockey League. So from a defensive standpoint, John, how do you go about trying to eliminate as many of those high percentage looks as possible?
Well, that's where the patience comes in. You know, there's times when you want to take that extra chance to keep the puck down deep, and maybe you make a decision that to hold a puck in when you didn't have the numbers. All of a sudden they're chipping it by you and they're getting a 2-on-1. They like to stretch, and they consistently find that stretch guy once or twice a game for a breakaway, and they've got a high percentage of burying those pucks. So, and they don't need, and that's their goal. Their goal is let's go out and win this game 2-1, and so they've been playing playoff type style of hockey where defense is first, and if we don't get shots, that's okay. We're just going to protect and wear them down.
So for a team who, as you have been talking about over the last few weeks, have been striving to get better in the defensive zone, do you look forward to a test like this?
It's a great test. You know, this is going to be playoff style hockey. You know, in a time of the year where you want to start getting better in those areas of the ice, and so for us, it's going to be one of our best tests, or toughest tests of the year.
Yeah, certainly getting into crunch time in the North American Hockey League. Just about 20 games remaining for all the teams here, and of course, this matchup's so crucial. In years past, it might not have been, but so crucial this year because it's a battle for the top 2 spots in the South Division, who will get a bye into the division semifinals, and certainly the value of not having to go through a play-in series, best of 3, extra little bit of rest there cannot be understated for any of these teams. So it's going to be an all-out battle with the Brahmas this weekend. John, thanks so much for joining us here. We'll be back with more on Wildcats Weekly presented by Armored Roofing just after this. Back here on Wildcats Weekly, presented by Armored Roofing. Ben Horner with you, Cats fans. We just heard from head coach John LaFontaine about this year's edition of the Wildcats, but now let's turn our attention to some of those alumni and get you an update on what's going on with those past Cats. We'll kick it off at the NCAA level, where it was a big weekend for guys like Kyle Bauman and Ben Kuchera. Bauman and his Bemidji State Beavers claimed the 2015 North Star College Cup over in-state rivals like Minnesota, Minnesota State Mankato, and St. Cloud State. And Bauman played a big role in that as he posted a goal in both of Bemidji State's wins over the weekend. Congrats to Bauman as he continues to impress for Bemidji State in his freshman year. Elsewhere, it was a weekend of firsts for Wildcats alum Ben Kuchera. Kuchera and the Air Force Academy Falcons picked up a sweep of American International College this past weekend, and Kuchera picked up his first career collegiate goal in a 6-2 win on Saturday. So congrats to Ben on that one. Elsewhere there in Massachusetts over the weekend. Dennis Kravchenko, a forward on the 2011-2012 squad, continues to impress for the UMass Minutemen in his freshman year. Kravchenko had 2 goals and an assist for 3 points over 2 games against the Merrimack Warriors. Kravchenko is second on the Minutemen in scoring and leads UMass in scoring among first-year players as he continues to impress in a very difficult conference in Hockey East out there. Taking a look at the semi-pros and the minor league pros, Cats alum Chad Costello continues to scorch up the East Coast Hockey League with the Allen Americans. Last week, Costello had 6 points on a goal and 5 assists over 3 games. He now has 66 points on 21 goals and 45 assists in 39 games played for the Allen Americans. That's a quick look at what's going on with the Wildcats alums. We'll be back with more on Wildcats Weekly presented by Armored Roofing just after this. We're back on Wildcats Weekly presented by Armored Roofing, putting a wrap on another great edition of the show. Thanks so much for joining us along the way. But before we let you go, we're going to get you set on all the news and notes you need for the coming days ahead. Of course, you know the Wildcats wrapped up an 8-game homestand last weekend, but they will be back at the K. Yeager Coliseum soon enough. Wednesday, February 4th, the Wildcats return home to the KYC for a crucial tilt against the Lone Star Brahmas. That is Texas Parks and Wildlife Night. We'll have more information on that as we tick closer, but you can also know that for now you can take advantage of a 4 for $24 ticket special. All you have to do is call the KYC box office at 716-5555. Tell them you want their 4 for $24 special, and that is good for any seat in the K. Yeager Coliseum that night. Reminder that season ticket sales are now open for 2015-16. This is the earliest the Wildcats have opened season ticket sales in quite some time. We're very excited. There's new seating options, new pricing points for the upcoming season. Buy early and get additional savings. 716-5587 is the number to call for more information. And, of course, you can find all the details about 2015-16 season tickets on our website, wfwildcatshockey.com. Reminder, the Wildcats are next in action this Friday and Saturday when they head down to North Richland Hills to take on the Lone Star Brahmas. Puck drop is 7:30 in those contests, so I'll have pregame for you on fasthockey.com and the Wildcats Broadcast Network starting at 7:15. Until then, I'm Ben Horner saying thanks so much for joining us on Wildcats Weekly presented by Armored Roofing. From all of us here at the Wildcats, we'll see you around the rink.